With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. And now it's our lowest price of the season on our top-selling i8 smart bed. Your best savings, plus free home delivery with an adjustable base. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Welcome to Think About It with your host, Jaden Miller.
Welcome. This is Jaden Miller, and my podcast is Think About It. Think About It with Jaden Miller. Listen, you can find me on your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, Amazon Music, and a host of other ones. I also want you to like, share, and subscribe on my YouTube channel. You can find that at Jaden Miller. Think About It with Jaden Miller. That is my YouTube site. So anyway, this is my second podcast. Thank you all for downloading. Thank you guys for liking. Thank you guys for sharing. Thank you guys for listening. Last time I talked about that whole TikTok challenge, and I talked about this young lady that was missing at the time, Gabby Petito. My second podcast this Wednesday is going to be about jokes. Who decides what's funny? And then I'm going to talk a little bit more about Gabby Petito. There's new information that has come forward, and so I'm going to share that with you. All right. Let's start with jokes. Why is everybody so politically correct? Isn't it like it used to be? A joke is a joke, or is it? There's research out there that says that the listener always decides what's funny. Is that true? Think about it. Does the listener always decide what's funny? The research goes on to say that the person attempting to be humorous can never be the judge of what's funny, as they are always funny in their assessment. If your listener laughs appreciatively, meaning not nervously or disingenuously, then you, the humorist, have succeeded at being funny. If they do not, then you have failed at your attempt at humor, and you need to either abandon further attempts, or you need to immediately adjust your material to make your audience appreciate your humor. Blaming your listener for not getting the joke is a sure sign that either you are not funny or you have attempted humor at an inappropriate time. All right. When is the time inappropriate to tell a joke? Well, of course, you don't want to tell jokes at a funeral. You probably don't want to tell jokes during a church service. All right. You probably don't want to tell certain types of jokes when you're on an airplane. But is any other time free? Think about it. All right. So as I thought about this topic, I came up with some jokes, that I'll kind of toss out there, and you guys tell me if these are funny. You be the judge of this. All right. Now, this is not going to be my attempt to be funny. I'm just going to read them, and you all are going to be the ones to think about it and decide whether that's funny or not. So here, I'll start with this one. Okay, so is this funny? Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. I mean, all right, is that funny? Again, the research says that, the listener always decides what's funny. All right. if you all are listening to me on your favorite podcast platform and you've had a rough day, I want you to listen to these jokes. Maybe they will, brighten your day or, put a smile on your face. How about this one? What did the duck say when it bought lipstick? What did the duck say when it bought lipstick? Put it on my bill. All right. Is that funny? Do you think that's funny? I want to test something with you all. Now, I mentioned earlier in the podcast what's politically correct. All right. So for those of you all that don't know, if you check out my podcast, you'll see my artwork and you'll see that I'm African American. All right. So, out there on the internet, they have these things called Ebonics test jokes. All right. So are these politically incorrect? Are they politically correct? Are they just jokes? Think about it. So here's one. It says disappointment. The word disappointment. All right. Again, these are Ebonics test jokes. And for those of you all that don't know what Ebonics are, Ebonics is supposed to be a way that black people talk. Okay. Now, that's up for debate. But so here's the Ebonics test joke. Disappointment. The word is disappointment. All right. My parole officer told me I miss disappointment. They're going to send me back to the big house. Let's do that again. Disappointment. My parole officer told me if I miss disappointment, they're going to send me back to the big house. Is that funny? Do you think that's funny? All right. Here's another one. Foreclose. Like if you foreclose on a house, okay, on your mortgage. Here's the word in the sentence. If I pay alimony this month, I'll have no money foreclose. All right. Is that funny? Is that a funny joke? All right. Is that politically incorrect? I want you to think about it. Here's another one. Okay. The word is Israel. Israel. Alonzo tried to sell me a Rolex. I said, man, that looks fake. He said, no, it's real. It's real. It's real. All right. Was that funny? All right. Here's another one. Stain. My mother-in-law asked me if I was staying for dinner again. Staying. S-T-A-I-N. My mother-in-law asked me if I was staying for dinner again. Is that politically incorrect? Is that funny? Is it just a joke? Okay. Are we so sensitive in society that we can't tell jokes? All right. Let me go back to some of these lighter ones. All right. What creature is smaller than a talking parrot? What creature is smarter than a talking parrot? A spelling bee. A spelling bee. All right. Why couldn't the leopard play hide and seek? Because he was always spotted. All right. So let's imagine you're driving home. I hope you guys are getting something out of these jokes. All right. Why did the drum take a nap? Why did the drum take a nap? It was beat. All right. Is that funny to you? Who decides if that's funny? Does the listener decide if that's funny, or is it the person that is telling the joke? That's debatable. Okay. That is really debatable. Here's another one. Let me go back to my Ebonics test joke. Let me find another one for you guys. All right. Seldom. The word seldom. All right. S-E-L-D-O-M. My cousin gave me 2 tickets to the Knicks game, so I sold them, meaning I sold them. Is that funny? Is that a funny joke? Is that a politically incorrect joke? Think about it. Think about it with Jaden Miller. Again, I want to ask you guys to like and share and subscribe on my YouTube channel. You can find it at Think About It with Jaden Miller. And again, if you're listening to this podcast, I hope you're listening on your favorite platform. That could be Spotify. That could be Google Podcast. That could be one of the Apple Podcasts. But anyway, I'm just glad that you guys have decided to listen to me again. All right. So again, we're talking about what's funny. Is jokes today, are they politically incorrect? Are they politically correct? Are people insensitive? Are people too sensitive? All right. Let me see if I can find another Ebonics one that is not too too offensive. Let's see. How about rectum? All right. rectum, rectum. I had 2 Cadillacs, but my old lady wrecked them both. Is that funny, or is that an insensitive joke? Is that politically incorrect? Think about it with Jaden Miller. All right, let me go back to some of these other ones. I mean, they're really kind of cute, though, you know. How do you know when the moon has had enough to eat? When it's full. Who thinks about these things? Who has the time to just come up with all of these jokes? All right. I mean, it seems like there's so much going on in the world that nobody would have time to just sit around and think about jokes. But hey, why did the Witches team lose the baseball game? Their bats flew away. Their bats flew away. How about this one? What happens to a frog's car when it breaks down? It gets towed away. It gets towed away. Wow. All right. Just a couple of other ones. You guys, I want you to think about it. Are these jokes funny? And again, who determines what makes a joke funny? Is it the listener, or is it the one that is delivering the joke? I'm going to do a few more of these, and then we're going to get into a more serious topic, something that's happening in the world today, right here in the United States. Really, really sad story, but just a couple of more. How do trees access the internet? They log in. They log in. Why did Cinderella get kicked off the soccer team? Because she ran away from the ball. Come on. All right. Is that funny? Let me see if I can come up with another Ebonics test joke. Let's see. How about this one? Undermine. Undermine. There is a fine-looking woman living in the apartment under mine. Let's do that again. There's a fine-looking woman living in the apartment under mine. Okay. All right. Is that politically incorrect? Is that insensitive? Are Ebonics jokes wrong? Okay. Should African American people get upset when they hear jokes like this, or is it just a joke? All right. Is it just funny to tell? I'm sure that there are Polish jokes out there. You know, there are Jewish jokes out there. We all hear about the blonde jokes out there. Are those offensive? Think about it. Think about it with Jaden Miller. Are those some insensitive things? Should we be able to laugh at people? Should we be able to laugh at society? Things that are happening. If somebody walks up a flight of stairs and they fall, okay, is that funny? Think about it. Is that funny? All right. Or is it that you wait to determine whether or not that person is hurt, and then if they're not hurt, then you laugh about it? Do you go home and tell people, hey, you know what, there's this lady, that was walking up a flight of stairs, and man, she tripped and all her papers just flew all over the place? Is that funny? Is that a funny joke? All right, here's one more. When is a door not a door? When it is ajar. A door ajar. Is that funny? Is that funny? I said one more. Here, I got to do this last one. All right. Why should you knock on the refrigerator before opening the door? In case there is a salad dressing. In case there is a salad dressing. All right. Well, that's it for the funny jokes. I wanted you all to think about it. Who determines what's funny? Are jokes, specifically jokes about gender, jokes about weight, jokes about race, are those politically incorrect? Are they insensitive? Or is it just a joke? Who determines what's funny? Is it the listener, or is it the person delivering the humor? All right. So again, this is Jaden Miller. Thank you guys for listening to my podcast. This is my number 2 podcast. I am really enjoying the ability to be able to share, my thoughts with you. This is called Think About It with Jaden Miller, but I want you to think about it as well. So I'm going to segue into my next topic here, and this one is a little bit more sad. This deals with what I talked about on my first podcast, and it deals with this young lady named Gabby Petito. Gabby Petito was the young lady that was on a cross-country trip with her boyfriend. As I mentioned in my last podcast, they got into an argument. At some point, he decided to leave. He drove her van, her white van, from Wyoming all the way back to Florida. Never mentioned anything about her being missing or where she was. And it was 10 days later that the family members reported her missing. So what was the boyfriend thinking? Well, in the latest news that we have, there's been an autopsy, and the autopsy results have confirmed that, the remains found Sunday in the Bridgerton-Teton National Forest are those of Gabby Petito, a 22-year-old woman who disappeared while on a trip exploring national parks with her fiance. Excuse me while I take a drink. Okay. Stuff like that happens when you're live, right? Her fiance's name is Brian Laundrie. All right. Now, just to catch you up on this, the cause of death remains pending final autopsy results, but their preliminary findings have determined that this is Gabby Petito, whose body has been found. Her remains have been found. Now, meanwhile, her boyfriend or fiance, his name is Brian Laundrie, he is missing. All right. Now, as I mentioned, he's in Florida. They've done searches for him. His family has lawyered up. They can't find him. Law enforcement has searched an area near his home, but he hasn't been seen. He hasn't actually been seen in a week. All right. So the search for him continues. Now, I believe he is moved from that category that law enforcement uses, a person of interest, or they may say the person is not a suspect at this time, when in reality, all of us know that if your girlfriend goes missing, your wife goes missing, or ends up dead, the first person they're looking at is the boyfriend or the fiance in this case, or the husband. And so it appears as though Brian Laundrie now may be moving into the suspect stage. He's now a suspect. All right. Of course, this brings about a number of questions that I want you all to think about. All right. If your girlfriend is missing, wouldn't you have reported that to the police? If she decided to run away, or that she decided to go somewhere else in this big, huge, massive park. Again, it's a park in Wyoming, all right? It's the Bridgerton-Teton National Forest. It's huge, okay? They were going around the country. They were exploring national parks together. And again, they got into an argument, and now she's missing. As I mentioned in my first podcast, how do you travel all across the country from Wyoming to Florida? How do you get back to Florida? You know she's missing and you don't report it for 10 days. All right? So that brings about a lot of questions that I want you all to think about. My first question is, if you're engaged to someone and you get into an argument with them and you take their van and flee to another part of the country and don't even report to anyone that, hey, I left her behind, I was upset, we got into a fight. Did he really love her? The main question is, for Brian Laundrie, wherever you are, hiding or missing or trying to flee the country or whatever, why? Think about it. Why? As I mentioned prior, there are two other individuals that have been missing in this same park. since one in June and one in August. Is there some kind of a connection here? I really would like to know. Is there some kind of a connection? But it's really, really sad for Gabby Petito's parents. Imagine having a 22-year-old daughter who is out with her fiance, someone that the family trusts, all right? And the actions that come forward later are just troubling. Imagine having to deal with that. Imagine you have friends who are Brian Laundrie's parents who now won't talk to you, who ask you to get in touch with them through their lawyer. Should parents protect their children when they're suspected of doing wrong? Brian Laundrie, what are you thinking? The parents of Brian Laundrie, what are you thinking? This 22-year-old girl who had her life in front of her, all right? That life is now taken. And of course, the question that we all have is, did you take her life? So the search for him continues. He left his house after finding out that investigators wanted to talk to him. And he went to what's called the T. Mabry Carlton Memorial Reserve near Venice, which is in Florida. All right. Authorities have spent the weekend doing ground searches and aerial searches for him, but they have not been able to find him. The last search concluded Tuesday evening around sundown and will resume on Wednesday. Today, actually. Before his parents told police Laundrie left the home September 14th, he had refused to talk to investigators and the family had directed them to their attorney. So if you're innocent in this case, why would you need to lawyer up so quickly? Why wouldn't you just talk to the police and say, hey, I decided to leave. My girlfriend and I got into a fight. I decided to drive back just to cool down. But that really, really causes that suspicion level in people that are investigating it and those of us out in podcast land to wonder, dude, what were you thinking? I've always wondered when people are suspects in these cases, what is going through their mind. You guys might remember a couple of years ago, there was a case involving a Colorado father. All right. His name was Chris Watts. These types of cases seem to happen very frequently. Chris Watts was 33 years old and he was convicted of murdering his family. He murdered his wife and then he murdered his two daughters. And they were the ages of 3 and 4. This happened in Colorado back in about 2018, 2019. We came to find that Chris Watts, who through social media and as far as people knew was a devoted husband. He had 2 children. Again, as I mentioned, their names were Bella and Cece. One was 3, one was 4, and his wife was pregnant. And so all over Facebook and other social media sites, his wife, Shannon was her name, would show them together and show how she was pregnant and how she was really looking forward to having her child. But little did we know that behind the scenes, they were having some domestic troubles. But on top of all of that, Chris Watts is having an affair, okay? Having an affair with another woman. And so his wife at the time, Shannon, comes home from a business trip. They get into an argument. He strangles her. And then his children that are standing there watching this, he strangles each one of them. And then he takes his wife to an oil field and dumps her body, and then takes his 3-year-old and 4-year-old daughter and dumps them in an oil tank. What is going on in these people's minds? Do they think that they can get away with these crimes? I mean, are they so enraged that this monster comes out of them? Think about it for a minute. That case always stunned me, and it just when I'm looking at Gabby Petito and how she was missing, and you know how we just found her remains, you know, and all of the suspicious things that her fiance has done. You know, I mean, Chris Watts in this case in Colorado did the same thing. I mean, he was on the news media talking about how much he loved his wife and how much he was hoping she would return and how he loved his children and hoping that no one did anything wrong to them. And yet, while he's on television, he's the killer. What's going on in his mind? Think about it. You know, and that also brings me back to another case. And we're talking about this same kinds of situations. We're talking about the Scott Peterson and the Laci Peterson case. And this happened back in 2002. So we had, again, a seemingly beautiful family. Scott Peterson, Laci Peterson, and Laci was pregnant with their son. Really, really sad case. Laci goes missing. All right. And again, Scott Peterson becomes the number one suspect. And for several months, all right, he's on television. He's crying, you know, boo-hooing because his wife was missing, hoping that she would safely return. The name of their unborn son was Connor. He's hoping that she comes back so that they can resume their lives. But in reality, Scott Peterson is now sitting in San Quentin prison with a life sentence because he was convicted of killing his wife. All right. And here we have all of these suspicious things. Where were you, you know, on the day she went missing? Okay. What were you doing? How was your life prior to her going missing? Well, after about a month or so of her being missing, well, lo and behold, the truth comes forward. Guess what? Scott Peterson has a mistress. All right. He has a woman that he's seeing, unbeknownst to her, that he's married. All right. And then until the case starts to become a more national case. And then he admits to her that, well, yes, I am married, but I'm not the one that killed her. She went missing. Well, it didn't take a jury very long to decide his fate. And if this person that has kidnapped, the person that killed Gabby Petito in this case, and again, the suspect is Brian Laundrie, then we're going to go down this same path again. There's all of this suspicious behavior. You know, you take her van and you drive all the way clear across the country back to Florida. You don't call. You don't even mention her name for 10 days. Okay. Then her own family has to report her missing. All right. Then you tell your family something. They get a lawyer and lawyer up. All right. And so now they won't even talk to Gabby's parents, but now any media inquiries, if the police want to talk to them or their son, they've got to go through a lawyer. All right. Think about it. Those are some real suspicious actions. But anyway, my name is Jaden Miller. This is my podcast, Think About It with Jaden Miller. Again, you can listen to this podcast on Spotify and any other podcast platform that you like. You can also watch me on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. I will continue to research and talk about issues. You know, guys, this is my second one. I'm still trying to get used to this format, trying to get used to coming up with topics that I think that will interest you. And so I hope that you will continue to listen. Thank you all for listening again today. You can check out new episodes from my podcast every Wednesday and Sunday. So I look forward to sharing these with you. And just a little bit about me, guys. You know, I've done a number of things before I sign off. I've done a number of things. I've been in law enforcement, been a photographer, been a school teacher, school administrator. I am engaged to get married as well. My fiance is actually in the room here. She's hiding back there in the back. Tanisha. But anyway, just wanted to introduce her. She's really done a lot. She's helped me with my artwork and has actually been very, very supportive of me in this new venture. But anyway, more about me and my background as we continue with these podcasts. But again, this is Think About It with Jaden Miller. You guys have a fabulous rest of your day. Again, podcast episodes every Wednesday and Sunday. I promise you they'll continue to get better. Like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Have a great day.